This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News starts right now with First Alert Weather.
I'm meteorologist Eric Thomas. Storms are settling down across the area, but they are not over just yet. We will track these and have the rest of your First Alert forecast. It remains an active pattern coming up shortly.
2, 1, 0, and liftoff, the final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the space shuttle.
It is the swan song of an American icon. You just saw it on the CBS Evening News, but tonight, Primetime is looking at how this program has touched lives right here in Charlotte over the decades and once again today.
Well, we're all out of orange-flavored Tang.
Golly, the grape flavor's gone too.
Listen, why don't I go
Tonight, the Space Agency's contributions to our everyday lives here on Earth, and Tang isn't one of them. Good Friday evening. I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Nice to have you inside and with us on this Friday. After 135 launches over 30 years, the space shuttle will never streak into the sky again. Through heavy clouds, Atlantis rocketed into orbit this morning. This is Atlantis's 33rd mission. It's been in service for 26 years. The skeleton crew is delivering a year's worth of supplies to the space station, but most people are focused on the historical significance, the retiring of mankind's most advanced machine. Primetime's Jeff Atkinson is here now, and Jeff, the space program has changed all of our lives in so many ways that we don't really realize.
It has, Maureen. The program's had a huge impact in the country, and some of your neighbors have had a part in that. What have we gained and what's next? It's our cover story tonight.
What does a battery-powered drill have to do with this? 1, 0, and liftoff.
You wouldn't normally put the two together, but it was the work here with the space shuttle that led to this, something we all have in our homes.
It may seem rather simple or silly and, oh, as an eventual happening, but they've had to develop a lot of battery-powered tools for use in NASA. That technology went directly into the tools that we use today that are battery-powered. That is one of the engines of the shuttle.
And he should know. Dr. Jim Conrad, professor and associate chair in UNC Charlotte's Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, for about a 3-year stint in the early 80s, worked for IBM when it was doing work for NASA in the space shuttle program. He went back to Houston again in 2008 and 2009.
There have been a lot of technologies that have been discovered, refined, whatever, in space because of the zero gravity. There's a lot of things that you can't do here on Earth that we learned you can do and do a lot better up in space.
Some of the heat shielding technology. He showed us one of the heat-resistant tiles that lie in the belly of the shuttle, the ones that became famous after the Columbia disaster. Dr. Conrad told us, used in the shuttle is also used by NASCAR. In space, on re-entry, you need protection against the heat. Same goes for automobiles. Space exploration has brought us medical imaging devices, TV satellite dishes, and GPS. It's also inspired a generation of young people to study sciences and engineering. For Jim Conrad, here he is in the NASA Lunar Electric Rover at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. His work on the computer systems used for developing space shuttle software and work in shuttle communications will always hold a special place in his heart.
Yeah, let's put it this way. It's neat to work in the space program. I could claim to be a rocket scientist. I'm sure that will make it there.
When it was conceived 4 decades ago, the selling point of the shuttle is that there would be weekly launches into space and that it would be relatively inexpensive and safe. It was none of those. What will its legacy, 30 years, be?
That's a lot of years for a single class of vehicle to be in place. The unfortunate thing, of course, is that there's no replacement that's really on the books right now.
Private companies will take over the business of getting cargo and crew to the International Space Station from now on. The experts say it'll probably be another 3 to 5 years before astronauts blast off again from U.S. soil.
And you found a local tie-in on this flight?
That's amazing. 2 North Carolina research projects are on board Atlantis from UNC Chapel Hill and NC State. One project from Chapel Hill will help investigators better understand bone loss. And the second from State is designed to find out how plants fare under stressful conditions.
Well, contrary to popular belief, Tang was not invented by NASA, but it was the drink of choice among the Gemini astronauts.
The Gemini space flights. The astronauts do some things you do. In space, they drank Tang. They mixed it like this in a zero-G pouch, because with no gravity, it would fly all over.
General Foods invented Tang back in 1957. It was already on supermarket shelves before NASA used it on John Glenn's orbital eating experiments. But this commercial in particular was so widely played that some people actually believed the drink was invented by the space program. Just marvelous marketing there. The city knew this dam was crumbling, and it almost came back to bite them. This was breaking news last night on primetime. Remember that? The spillway here at this pond in East Charlotte was crumbling, and water was about to pour into the neighborhood just across the street. Well, fortunately, it did not happen. The pond was drained just in time, but the city actually knew the dam was in trouble for 2 years. We asked them today why they didn't fix it. They told us these things, they take time, and engineers were working on a plan, but Mother Nature, she speeded up the process. It'll cost nearly $9 million taxpayer dollars to replace and repair this project. And draining the pond, well, it revealed a big secret hidden there below the surface. This car buried in the muck. Police and firefighters have checked the car, and they're still investigating, but they believe the vehicle was just abandoned and someone pushed it there into the water. And a lot of water coming down from Mother Nature. Many of you have had pop-up storms with lots of lightning. Eric Thomas, what's happening outside now?
Well, we avoided the severe weather throughout the afternoon, but we may not avoid the flooding, Maureen. And in fact, right on the dovetail of that story you were talking about, we're going to talk about some flash flood watches that we have to deal with. Now, nothing around the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. In fact, at the moment, we've even suppressed the lightning. So we have garden variety showers still moving, in some cases over the same areas that we've been seeing over the last 2 to 3 hours. Lake Norman has been a popular target, Lincolnton, and now coming back into the southern sections of Mecklenburg County again. These have been some pretty popular tracks. But the heaviest rain right now, Lincolnton, northbound 321 through Maiden. But I also want to point out the flood watch that I just mentioned. There is a flood watch, flash flood watch for Wilkes County as well as Allegheny and Watauga and Ashe counties up this way. And now the rain is beginning to build up. And this is what they're concerned about for the overnight hours. We have some vulnerable areas across all of these counties. Again, Allegheny, Ashe, Watauga, and you'll see around Boone and Blowing Rock, things are really beginning to pick up the pace right now. Maureen, again, not a lot of lightning and thunder up that way, but it's a sustained rainfall that could present the problems. 2 to 3 inches, not out of the question during the overnight hours. Again, the rest of that first alert forecast for the weekend and beyond coming up shortly.
A lot of rain and a little bit of time, Eric. Thank you, family, friends, and our community tonight mourning a fallen hero, a local Marine from York County, killed in action fighting the war on terror. Staff Sergeant Thomas Dudley lost his life earlier this week in Afghanistan. The tales of his death, they're hard to come by. It was Dudley's 6th overseas deployment as a Marine. He has been in service since he turned 18, 11 years now. A husband, father of 3, friends, they call him TJ, and they've taken to Facebook to honor him. One friend writes, "You were an amazing father, brother, fireman, friend, Marine. You will always be remembered and never forgotten. You are a true hero." Dudley also was a volunteer firefighter in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Up next on this Friday night, the local city winning a David versus Goliath battle with the world's largest media company. Plus, what's up with the haze and the smoky smell spreading across Charlotte today? Well, you can blame the Peach State.
This chicken shall be wrongly cooped.
Oh, and a little later, it's Arrested Development, a cult favorite coming to the big screen. You're watching Primetime, your only live local news at 7 o'clock. We're back in only 30 seconds.